Hello, everybody. Glad to see you. We got a handful of people here this evening. I see some of you are complaining about it being cold. Well, I'll trade places with you in a minute. Because I was looking, see, who was it? Terry down in New Zealand, talking about it being cold. I looked to see what the current temperature was in New Zealand, and from what I could see, it was around 12 to 15 degrees Celsius, or around 48 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll take that all day long. We've been having heat indexes over 100 degrees, triple digits, and lo and behold, what quit working today? The HVAC quit. It just said it's too hot and I'm going home. I'm not doing any more work. And so the air conditioning quit. So hopefully we won't have too much noise, or hopefully we don't have any unwelcome guests walk through the door, because with where I'm at, that's entirely possible. I got this house is set up like the shotgun houses in New Orleans and places like that, where it's just an open front from the front door to the back door. You open the doors, it's front, and air can blow right through and help keep the house cool. But where I'm sitting, I'm liable to have some crackhead. Hey, man, y'all open? So I'm glad to see everybody here. Hello to everybody, all the regulars. That there is the one project that I got completed this week. I didn't get the one video out this week because the remodeling and the heat has kicked my butt this week. I've got I'm just about ready to start construction on the remodel. Found out some more information as I got more of the flooring up. Little twist that I wasn't prepared for, but I got it figured out now. So start swinging hammers and removing plumbing fixtures tomorrow. Yay! But I didn't get the one project done, and folks were wanting to see this. I posted it on Facebook. They're like, "Hey, we really want to see a video with lights." I put that on Facebook earlier, but I figured I'd show it here and turn the lights out. And then also, this will be the first time I can really showcase. Well, where is it? Right there. The lion has been there for the entire run of Hobo with Wood, but you haven't really seen it in all of its glory until now. So let's turn the lights out so you can see this jewel and all what it does, and then I'll wake up the lion. Let's see here, on off switch. There we go. So that's just got a little LED puck in it, and it doesn't put out enough light to read by or anything like that. And right now I've got it in flash mode, but you could easily just put it into a single color with this particular RGB LED puck. And it would be great for a kid's night light or something like that. Or even if you just wanted to have some ambient light in the room you're in, do whatever, any color you wanted, of course. But now let's wake up the lion. Wake up. Ain't that cool? That's a mirror that was done with the 10 watt, 12 by 12 mirror. And I know Clack does a lot of mirrors and painting, but that one's no paint. It's just engraved mirror, really high def photo, and then backlit. Wake up. Wake up. It's motion activated. There we go. That's pretty cool. All right, let's turn some lights back on. We got to get the right remote. This one. Got too many remotes around here. There we go. Let there be light. All right, so I learned a few things this week, and I'm going to share those with you before we dive into the project. One of the things I learned was just this afternoon, one of the comments from YouTube, and I was like, huh? No, that can't be right. But I learned something new today, because how many ways are there to do things in Lightburn? There's always another way to do things in Lightburn. In the video I did for this week, where I did the simulated, I forgot, Lichtenberg burn, I screwed up whenever I did a edit with one of the pieces. And I said it in the video. I said I did this with cut shapes, and I should have done it with the Boolean tools, the subtract tool or the union tool, something. I said I used the wrong tool. But instead of undo, I'm just going to fix it, and I'm going to fix it with node editing. So just, say, okay, yeah, you did it wrong, but hey, this is just another way it can be fixed. Well, if someone put in the comments, in fact, we'll give him credit. It's Mark. Yeah, Mark Patterson. We'll come over here. And when I read this, I was like, sounds a little fishy. But Mark Patterson said, when you do cut shapes, do it in fill mode, and it will automatically close those open ends that you had to go back and close in node editing. And that sounded kind of fishy to me. I'm like, yeah, no, I think you're wrong. But he was right. Check this out. Let's go over here and go back into Lightburn. There's the lamp project, and we're going to discuss that and all the different possibilities you can do with it. But if you've got a shape in Lightburn, I've just got a square, and then I wanted to do a cut out part of a circle of it and put it on a toolpath. And I've got two shapes here. This toolpath is going to be the shape that I'm going to cut out of this rectangle. And I select the square. I select the square first and select the circle, and then use tools and cut shapes. Well, that cuts it into two separate pieces. And if I want to get rid of this piece where the circle is at, I then have to select it and hit the delete button, and it goes away. Well, if that is in what I said I should have done was A, subtract B, and use the Boolean tools, and that gives you that, and wouldn't be an open shape. Now I just seen something. Ooh. Did I just learn something even more? Let's see here. So A and that, and cut tools, cut shapes. Yeah. Okay. All right. So it doesn't give you the same result because there, but no, it would if it's in fill mode. I take that back. It will work. I keep learning. All right. So if you take this and you put it in fill mode, and so you select your square and then select your toolpath and use the cut shapes, then you can select that bottom corner and delete it, and it'll give you that, and it's closed. You can accomplish that, which is the same as A subtract B, but it only works if it's in fill mode. So that's new to me. In fact, when I first read it, I said, that doesn't make any sense, because the shape is the shape. And when you use that cut tools, you're using it like a cookie cutter to cut that out. But when it's in fill mode, it's looking at, that's a solid piece of, I say it a lot, it's like a solid piece of paper. And now you're just cutting it out, and well, it is. It's going to close all that out and take it away. So that was new, and that was Mark Patterson. So Mark, I don't know if you're watching, but if you made this live or not, but I'm giving you kudos, thumbs up. You did teach me something, and now there's a bunch of ones popping up in here. So you taught a whole bunch of folks that if you're in fill mode, cut shapes will close, which is essentially the same thing as A subtract B, but as long as you're in fill mode. So that's, and I don't typically work and design in fill mode. I almost always work in line mode. It's easier. But just wanted to, Mark shared that with me, and I just wanted to share these guys, share it with you, because maybe a lot of you, that's will work better than the Boolean A subtract B. Your mind just grasp it better. I don't know. But it was a new trick. And I said, you know what? I'll share that with everybody and give Mark credit for it. Thank you, brother. All right, put that back in line mode. Actually, we'll get rid of that. Now, I do not have any files that are going to be any free giveaway this week, simply because this is one of the easiest projects you can possibly do in Lightburn, and your physical pieces. Like I've got the RGB LED puck in there, one of the round pucks like this right here. I've got this in there to light it up. And depending on what you get and what size you get, that's going to dictate how big your base needs to be. And maybe you want one that's where I've got 25 marbles in each side. Maybe you only want 12 in each side, or, this is extreme, but I'm going to do you a walkthrough, a real easy step, setting this up. But there are two things you want to know going into it when you start your design. What is your light going to be? Are you going to use a puck like this? Or maybe you're really, really good, because the puck, it works. But what would work better is if you were really fluent with LED strips, and were able to cut and make your own strips and size them as needed. I'm going to turn this light back off again. If you look at the bottom row of the marbles, they're not lit very well. Once the light's out, they look okay, but the bottom row is not nearly as bright as the rest of them, because the bottom of the puck is down there with that. But if you did LED strips and glued them to the bottom of the stand, it might illuminate more evenly. I don't know. But if you're going to use a puck or whatever it is, you need to know what that is to help determine what size you're going to be. And then how tall, how big do you want it to be? This particular piece is, well, you know what? Instead of using that, we'll do, paint manager. This one is about 6 1/4 inches tall, and it is 5 1/2 inches wide. 6 1/4 by 5 1/2. And the way the bottom is glued on, it's fixed. It's not removable. But to access the puck, to change the batteries out, the top is not glued into place. It just slips on, so you can remove the top and access your puck. So, and I'm not going to, and it's not hard. It's just, in fact, we'll just see if I can do it live. When you do stuff live, it'll bite you in the butt. But that's lined up. There's one corner. There's 2 corners, 3 corners. And this is something, if you do the battery operated or rechargeable batteries, there we go. And then it just slides right in place. Done. All right. So, knowing what size your puck or light source is going to be and what are your overall dimensions going to be. Now, we got question marks already and exclamation points. That makes good comment. Smart Alec, I like the name. Make a recess in the base for the puck, like Chris said. I didn't see Chris's comment. Yeah, there he is, 2 above you. So that the puck sits down lower. That would work if you want to definitely go with the puck as the option. I had the puck already, and so I said, well, what the puck? I'm going to use puck. I use a lot of LED strips. And when I do the LED strips, what I will do a lot of times is do a tube, even if it's something as simple as just a living hinge that's rolled up in a circle. Or you can take paper towel tube, just a paper cardboard tube, and stuff it, make it really rigid so it's not going to collapse on itself, and just wrap the tube. Maybe in something like this, you'd use a TP, tube, 6-inch tube. and wrap it with LED strips. So it's circular tower that sits in the middle and illuminates out. That would work. But yeah, a puck, if you recessed it, that would help it illuminate more evenly. Chicago Bob says, could you cut the 3 base layers to come? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Y'all said the same. See, you guys are already thinking about things that I didn't think about when I was putting it together. And Bob says, you guys need to stop reading my mind. All right. As long as nobody gets in trouble reading your mind, we'll be okay. All right. So there's really only a couple of shapes involved in this. The sides, the 4 sides, is actually just one shape. It's one shape duplicated, and then those 2 are flipped. And then the base, I did a 3-tier base. You can do a 2-tier base if you wanted to. I did a 3-tier base simply because I wanted to have a finished look to the top. I didn't want to see anything. You can't even see the wood grain because the lights are bright. There we go. It's too much light. I didn't want to see any of the grooves in the top of it. I wanted it to be finished. The same thing on the bottom. So that's why I did 3 tiers. But let's jump over here to Lightburn. It is hot in here, ladies and germs. It is miserable. Let's see here. All right. So this is, if you, in fact, take this back over here. Some of the, my patrons that are in stream and maybe you already downloaded this because I had this up earlier. You should have received an email from me earlier this afternoon where I've already sent out a revision for this. So if you've already downloaded it prior to the live stream, you should have in your inbox a revised version of this because there were a few nodes missing in 2 of the pieces and I had to go in and fix it. And this is the new and improved version of the file. So if you download it tonight, it's correct. And this is how it will come into you. It's got a photo of the lamp. And in fact, let me show you these on, go back over here to Amazon. When I went in search of clear in marbles, in fact, I also mentioned this to my patrons. This lamp is an inspiration from a wall hanging lamp or a lamp that hung from the ceiling that my grandfather used to have in his house back in the early to mid 70s, around 74, 75. He brought one of these up home and lit it up. And it was about twice that size. And it had just a regular incandescent bulb that screwed into it. The bottom was open. Just 4 sides with the open bottom. You can put your hand up there and change the bulb. But all of the marbles in there were a different color. They were solid colors. They weren't cat's eye marbles, but they were red, green, blue, yellow. They're all different color marbles. And you light it up and you just have 8 of the random colors. And it just, it didn't flash or strobe or anything. It was just old regular incandescent bulb. But this was inspired by that. I loved that lamp as a kid. And I said, yeah, this could be kind of cool. I've thought about doing it many times, and I said, I'm going to do it this week. Finding marbles. Marbles were difficult to come by. And the local hobby shops because there's 25 marbles on each side, so it's 100 marbles here. And I knew I wanted to do the LED puck for the color changing, so I wanted clear marbles. That was kind of tough to come by. But when I quit searching for marbles, it becomes so much readily available, and they were everywhere because these are not truly marbles. It says here that they're glass marbles, but they're vase or vase fillers. These are glass beads that you see in planters and fixtures and vases or vases, filler. And in the arts and crafts department, you'll find these, but you won't find them in the toy department for marbles. But these are just a little over a ½ inch in diameter, and these work really good. And I'm going to put this link in, wrong way, Conway. I'll put this link in the comments, copy, paste. All right, so that's a link to those marbles. Now there's about 240 pieces in this bag or this box. And as I said, this design uses 100 in this one design. So, and because they're not toy marbles, they're just glass filler, they're not uniform. They fluctuate in size, not drastically, but some of them are really noticeable difference. So out of 240, you'll probably find 200 that are uniform enough to do something like that. All right. Yeah, now, and I don't know, Sim the Turnery. He comments here that the chandelier crystals would look cool also. Yeah, that's kind of what I got going on, Richard. This is like I said, I'm just pointing out that these are not truly marbles, and I've got the RGB LED puck in there, and that's why she's not color changing right now. There, you might be a little bit late. Let's see here, V. Now change. But back to the chandelier crystals. Instead of doing just the glass round marbles, if you go back over to Amazon and you look for clear, in fact, I did clear marble vase fillers. And you got the round ones, and you got, these are truly marbles, and then you've got these beads. Now, these are semicircles. They're not, kind of flat on one side. Those would give you a different look. But what I thought was kind of neat were the right here, these. If I don't know what kind of shape you would cut those out, but these are more crystalline. In fact, they call them ice crystals. But that would give you some pretty cool looking things, or end results. So the idea is that's why I said in the title of this thing, the possibilities are pretty endless. There's a lot of things you can do with this type of design. And when you go to create the holes for whatever you're going to glue in there, that's the easy part. And creating the actual design is actually not that hard either. And so let's jump over here to Lightburn and do that now. Let's get to Lightburn. Did I tell you it's hot in here? I'm gonna get a drink first. And mark my place here. All right, send. All right. I didn't realize how much I'm messing my air conditioning. All right, Lightburn. Okay, as I said, these four shapes are actually all identical. These two are facing up with the slots up. These are slots down. These are just two and then duplicated and flipped them. And then the three different sizes here. Two have slots in them for it to slide down onto, and then the top and bottom do not have the slots, so it gives it a nice finish. And first, let's talk about these up here. Let's talk about the bases. Now, I started with just a 4.5-inch square because I wanted it, my puck and the material that I used. I said, okay, I need to be at least 4.5 inches out here on my base once I allowed all the room, because my puck, hold coming here to the center, come on, get right there. My puck was about 3.5, I think, or right at 3, give or take. Let's see if I get a 3-inch in there. Well, I got a tight, yeah. I think it's a 3-inch puck that I got in there. So that's how I determined my size. Now, everybody knows how to use, well, not everybody. Most of you know how to use the offset tool in Lightburn. But using the offset tool and generating 3 different squares by size and using your radius tool can give you different results. And you might like one way versus the other way. And we'll show you what happens when you use the offset tool to create all of them versus creating new rectangles and using the same radius on all of them. I say rectangles, but squares. So if you come over to your square tool and hold your shift button and draw out a square, and I tell it I wanted it to be 4.5 inches. So lock my aspect ratio 4.5 inches, and that should be a 114.3. Yep, 114.3 millimeters or 4.5 inches. And then I did a 1/4 inch radius. I come down to my radius tool, and I told it to do a 1/4 inch radius, and then just went around to my corners and put in a 1/4 inch radius. And if you're not worried about doing what I'm getting ready to do, you don't have to use the radius tool. But I did that 4.5 inch square and a 1/4 inch radius. And if you do another square and you say, all right, I want it to come out a 1/4 inch around either way. So you do a 1/4 inch offset, or that's a 1/2 inch extra. So this is going to be a 5 inch square. And I want to use that same 1/4 inch radius. So 1/4 inch, come Papa. There, 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 and there. And then put it in place and center it up. And then that was 4.5. That's 5. Now 5.5. And the radius, I'm using the same 1/4 inch radius on all of them. And some of you may already go, okay, yeah, that's not how I would do it, and that's not what I do. But I want to show you the different looks you get. It's why I'm doing this. Oh, what did happen to go away? Undo. Did I not get my, that's 5. Did I go to 5.5? No, dummy. Delete that. 5.5. I want to start over. Delete 5.5. I ain't gonna be able to stay in the shop long tonight, boys and girls. It's miserable. But I got my guard dog, and she's watching the door. So if anybody comes in, I'll know. All right, now put that in place. All right, so there you have a 1/4 inch gap around the entire perimeter and a 1/4 inch radius on all 3 pieces. And that gives you a fairly square base. Now, if I duplicate my very first one, bring it over here, and I just go to the offset tool and do a 1/4 inch offset outward. Do not delete my original. Say okay. And then do it again and say okay. I'm 5.5 total size. 5.5 total size, but look, it's two completely different looks between those 2 pieces. This is more of a square base, and this one's starting to get rounded off more and more each time you come out. Because as you do an offset, you are moving your radius. This is a 1/4 inch radius. This is a 1/2 inch radius, and this is a 3/4 inch radius. The radius increases each time. Question mark from Carl. Carl says, couldn't you use the shape properties instead of the radius? You can. And you can also do, and that's why I said, if you weren't worried about doing specific 1/4 inch, I did this by using the radius tools. But what Carl's saying here, if you come over shape properties, if you got the square, and we had a 4.5 inch square. If you have shape properties open, you can come down here to your corner radius and just tell it 1/4 inch radius, and it puts 4 1/4 inch radiuses on there. So yes, you can, Carl. And like I said, there's always another way to do things in Lightburn, and I'm happy to show that. But if I tried to show every single way to do every single thing that can be done in Lightburn, We wouldn't ever get, we'd be another 5-hour live stream. We ain't doing that ever again. There's always another way. Always another way. All right, but I wanted to show you the differences between doing the same 1/4 inch radius versus doing offsets. And if I so you can maybe see it. If I bring this a tool line out here to that edge and bring a tool line to this edge, and then grab these and put them in node editing, you can see here this is a 1/4 inch radius, and that straight line comes up and it's not there. It's a 1/4 inch over here. Well, if I do the same thing with these fellers, snap it to there and snap this one to here and put these in node editing, you can see this line lines up where that radius starts, and this one starts where that one ends. So it's still symmetrical and it still works. They just give you two entirely wrong button, stupid. Undo. Delete that. Delete that. It just gives you two different end results on what shape your base will be. Yeah, Jeff, I'm saying never, 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 and never, never, never do another 5-hour live stream again. Yeah, nope. Sorry, Kent. Nope, nope, nope. Yeah, y'all silly. Okay. So with that demonstration done, how you get some different looks. Here, like I said, I did the offsets. I created the first one and just did an offset for each of the three. So I'm just going to grab this, duplicate it, and send it to the center of the page. Oh, center of the page. And some of you may not be aware of this. Like right now, I'm focused on this over here. I duplicated it and used my tool up here to send it to the center of the page. This right here, this little dotted zoom tool right here, if you says zoom to frame selection, click it, and it's just going to take you to wherever on the page that piece is. And that's a cool tool too. So if I take these pieces right now and I'm going to put them on a tool, ungroup it all. Ungroup. And I'm going to put these, they can get them all, dummy. Put them on a toolpath and turn my toolpath off. So there's my 4.5 inch square that I put the radiuses on. Okay. Well, I tell you, it's not a question, but there's a comment. Bob says, I bet if someone became a platinum member, me, might consider doing it. Well, for those who aren't aware, there's actually 4 levels in Patreon. You've got bronze, silver, and gold. Oops, wrong button. Bronze, silver, and gold. Bronze is $3 a month. Silver is $9 a month, and gold is $20 a month. There is a bronze tier, not a bronze, a platinum tier. And no one has signed up for platinum. And platinum is $5,000 a month. If someone was a $5,000 patron on Patreon, I say that I'll come to their house once a month, fix their dinner, and talk to them about Lightburn and laser creations until I'm blue in the face. But yeah, if for that platinum patron, yeah, I'd do a 5-hour one stream every day solo for them for $5,000 a month. All right, so back to business. Mark my spot, take a drink. All right. So once I've got my initial base size, that's the smallest base. I don't have to worry about doing all the other sizes, the offsets right away, because those are just finished pieces. What's important right now are the slots and the slot locations. Now, there are these open places right here. And do I have any scrap here I can show you? Let's see. No. All right. No, I should have. I'll take the top off and show you. Let's go back here. Let's take the top off. Come to Papa. All right. So that's when it's cut out. That's what she looks like. And these notches are left in there and slip down and lock in the center notches in the piece. And you've got the corner notches that will come in here and snap into place on those. So where do those need to be? Well, if you come over, those obviously you cannot create these until you've got this piece designed. So we're going to grab this and set it over here for a second. And I'm going to grab, well, we're not even going to worry about these right now. We're just going to start from scratch completely. If I draw out a rectangle, whatever size it was, I determined it was going to be. You start out with a rectangle, and then if you're creating this piece for you to make from your material, you already know what your puck is, you know what your light's going to be. I already knew that I was going to be making it out of this 5mm maple that I've got. So I knew my slots are going to be 5mm wide. If depending on what material you're going to be cutting yours out of, you wouldn't make your slots that size, according to what material you're using. Make that more like that. And so I said I had a 5mm slot. I'm going to unlock my aspect ratios. I'm going to go back to metric. I'll say it's 5mm wide. And then how high, how tall does it need to be? Well, I wanted to do 3 bases at 5mm. It's going to be 15mm tall. So that would get centered and at the top like that, and duplicate it and put it at the bottom. So that's the first placement for the first slot. Then I need slots down either side. So I'm going to come over here and just draw out a slot. I ain't even going to worry about the sizes because I'm going to key in what I want it to be. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to tell it needs to be 5mm wide. And then I'm going to bring it over here and I'm going to align it to the center, or to the top rather. And before I do anything else, I'm going to come back up here to my gears and set my movement. And I've already got it set here. My arrow movement is set 10mm right now. So I said, okay, that's what I want. So I'm going to come back to this piece, select this. I want to go to top left. Then I'm going to select just that one, and I'm going to use my arrow key to move it over 10mm. Now I'm going to look at this piece right here, and its current height shows it's 173 points. I'm just going to tell it, change it to 170. And now I need to put everything, resize everything, or put everything back. We'll group those temporarily and put it at the top and put this at the bottom. And if this was 170, I need to ungroup these, select just this one. And now this is where you're going to change your anchor points. Right now, I've got my anchor point in the very center. Well, I've already aligned this. I know I want it here in this position, 10mm off this, and I know I want it aligned to this top. So when I move this, I don't want to move it left or right or down. I only want to bring this up. So I'm going to change my anchor point to the center top. And now if this was 170 high, then I'm just going to come over here to this and say the height needs to be 170 divided by 2. Key that right into the height field and hit enter, and it's going to do the math for me and say, okay, it's 85mm. So now I can Control D, duplicate it, so hold my shift button, select the rectangle and tell it to align right. It didn't duplicate. Undo. Select that, Control, and in fact, you just put this all on a red layer so you can see it a little bit better, or a black layer even. There we go. I couldn't see the ants. I didn't see it didn't duplicate. There's the duplication. Now hold my shift button and select that and tell it to align right. Select just that piece, arrow over one time to the left. Now it's positioned correctly. So I can hold my shift button, select this one, group them together, hold my shift button, or actually select the square, hold my shift button, select that group, and do the Boolean subtraction, A subtract B. These, group these together, A, subtract that group, and there is the shape of this side piece. I've got a groove at the bottom. Actually, I don't have my shapes here at this side. Okay. I designed this, put it together Tuesday and dropped it Wednesday, and I done forgot what I did. But that's what's great. We can just undo and go back. So these slots are done, but I need to have this size slot on each of these on either side on this end. So I'm just going to undo one time, ungroup those, grab that, duplicate it twice, Control D, 1, 2. Now hold my shift button, select that, align it to the left, select it, arrow over one time. Oops, that moved. I didn't want it to move. Well, it doesn't matter. We'll make sure she's aligned to the right and to the bottom, and then arrow it over one time. Then select all three of them, group them, square or the rectangle, A, subtract B. That gives me those, and then A, subtract B. All right. Now that shape is done. If I say Control D, duplicate it, arrow it over, select them both, Control D, duplicate them, and then rotate them. Those four pieces would interlock together and make a perfect square. All you need now is just the bases to hold it all together. Because I didn't put any glue on any of the four pieces to glue them up, just slid them together, interlocked them, and then glued the bottom on, didn't even glue the top on. So let's look over here for any questions or comments at this point. Let's see here. Oh, looky, who's in the house? Hey, and I don't know. That's brain just went dead. It's too hot in here, ladies and germs. Patrick, Light Source Engraving. Patrick, I seen your sledgehammer, and I commented on Facebook, but I looked like my comment even went away. Patrick did a sledgehammer the other day with one of his lasers, and it had the flag in it, but the union in the flag was blue, and it was a brilliant blue. Almost looked like it was painted to me, and I was like, did you get that kind of blue out of the laser? That was awesome. Which it wasn't so much that the blue was so vibrant. It was all vibrant, and it was uniform. It looked really, really good. So if you're still here, Patrick, that was awesome work. I liked it a lot. That was one of my favorite pieces I've seen you do. Oh, my goodness. Andy says, sorry, I got distracted. Did you make this with 6 mil? No, I made it. I made it out of hardwood. I've got some maple that I've processed, and this is 5 mil hardwood maple. And it's got some nice grains in it when you put a finish on it. But I had a lot of 5 mil maple that I processed, and that's what I used here. You could use, 4.7 or 5 mil or 6 mil plywood. And I wouldn't do it out of anything real thin because now I got this off. Where you've made these to slide together, they're, let's see which one is there. Here we go. This will be easy to show you. I'm trying to get it to work. There we go. See that movement? It's in there. It's pretty flexible. And if you're not careful, you can break it. How do I know? I broke it. And this is out of solid maple. Plywood probably wouldn't be quite as fragile as hardwood, because with the plywood, you've got varying directions of grains and the different plies. But with solid hardwoods, they're going to be more fragile. They're going to cleave more easily. But that's what I had. That's what I wanted to use. And that's a lot of times when I'm doing projects is, what have I got? What can I work with? And we got an emergency vehicle going by. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Let's see here. Moses, thank you, my brother. Man, you're getting Moses. I don't. Are you a patron? If you're not a patron, Moses, you need to do that, because you are a regular contributor to the live streams, and I greatly appreciate it. I really do. But if you're not a gold, you need to be, my brother. Because you get all my files for free with gold for the same contribution there. Okay, question marks. I might be missing something, but is there a reason why the cutoffs at the top and the bottom were merged into 4 rectangles instead of 8? Oh, yes. I ain't got there yet. Because I think I know what you're talking about. I think you're talking about switch over here, and you can clarify this before we move on. Are you talking about here where I've got these as individual rectangles? And you're saying, why didn't you just merge these together like that? I think that's what you're asking. If that's what you're asking, I'm going to show you that those were left like that intentionally in just a few minutes when I get around here to showing you that placement. But is that what you're talking about there, Bob? Let's see here. And Patrick saying, if you turn off night light in display settings, Lightburn should turn back to white on the stream. If you turn off the night light in display. You know what, this? There. No, I don't know. I'm my Patrick. I don't know if you tuned in. My air's off and it's miserable, and I've been working. My brain is only on firing on 4 cylinders today, and maybe 3 out of 8. And no, Chris, it's not so much about welding those together to save time. Would not be why you would do it. And if you guys will see in a minute if that's what you're talking about. Okay. So Moses is a patron, and he contributes practically every live stream. Bless you, brother. Especially right now. If you're a patron, you know just how, you know what my situation is, and I appreciate you. I really do. I would not be here, ladies and germs, without my patrons. So, Patrick says, on your PC, left click the desktop, then go to display settings and turn on the left click the desktop, go to display, and then turn off night light. Left click oh, wait a minute. Patrick's got me confused. I don't know what I'm doing. Left click display settings, night light. Yeah, you'll have to, well, I don't even see that. Don't know. I don't see that as an option, but we're going to move on and keep going with this. And Chicago Bob said, yeah, he did confirm that's what I'm talking about. All right, there is a huge reason for not welding those together, and you're going to see why here in just about 4 or 5 minutes. So let's jump back over here to the design process and go back over here to Lightburn. All right, so I've got the basic shape set up for those to go together. This size was determined by the thickness of the material and then how many pieces was I going to stack on here for the base. I went with 5 millimeter material and 3 pieces. So it was 5 millimeters by 15 millimeters, or 5 by 15. This one was 5 millimeters and half of the overall height of that square. And then these were 3 of the 5 by 15s. Duplicate it, rotate it, and now they're going to interlock together, and your tops and bottoms are going to slide on. Now, if you want to, and because these are all the same piece, there's no difference in any of them. If you want to do anything creative, delete all those. If you look here, so I've got the wiggles down the side, and then I also placed these little quarter round pieces here, so it kind of like quarter round molding up at there. It's like, okay, well, where do those go, and how did you do that? Well, since you only got to do it to one piece, you can come in here to node editing, come over here, and actually I'll come up here just so you can see how the letter M works. A lot of you guys have seen me do this already, but in node editing, when you hit the letter M as in middle, there's no nodes in here right now, but you hit M, it just created that node right there. Put it in the middle of those 2 nodes. Now I'm up here at the top corner with my cursor. I'm going to hit M again, puts it there. It'll keep putting it in the middle of the closest nodes. So once you've got all those nodes in there, and let's come up here, and I'm going to check my movement tabs. I've got 10 millimeters, and let's do a shift movement of 2.5 millimeters. No, let's just do 3 millimeters. Say okay. So now that I've got that done, I'm going to hover over each one of these, and I'm going with hovering over those nodes. I'm going to hit the letter S. S, node S, hover over the node S, 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 and S. Then I'm going to come up here, grab one, skip one, grab the next one, holding the shift button, and the squares, those are the tangents for the smooth curves. You want to get the round dots, every other one. So there's that. Skip that one. I want this one. Skip that one. I want this one. Now I've got every other node selected, and I'm going to hold my shift button and use my arrow out one time. And then I'll come back in and grab the other ones. Here, here, and here. And I'm going to arrow in. Oh, I didn't hold my shift button. Shift. There we go. So now, and I would repeat the same process over here. And that'll give me my squiggly lines. And I'm still 5 millimeters would be, or I think that's about 8 millimeters, give or take. So still going to be fairly strong there. And here, what I might look at is say, oh, during my design process, I'm like, okay, now, do you know why airplane windows are round? They're at radiuses on all of your airplane windows because corners are weak points. So in this design, when I'm looking at this right here, right now, and see how close this corner is to the edge of this material, that is a vulnerable spot. So if I was going to be designing this, I would actually just do, go back and I'd undo and go back to node editing and see where this one's at. And I would select it first, skip that, come up here and, oh, I didn't mean to do that. And, oh, now it's going to thunder. Now here's something, let's see, if I'm trying to do undo, that works. But if the node was still selected and you try to do undo, it wouldn't work. So I'm going to grab this node, hold my shift button, skip this one, grab this one. And we're going to leave that there like that. And then come down, skip that one, and grab this one. And now instead of bringing that node in, making that a vulnerable spot, I'm going to hold my shift button and take it out. And I'm going to, before I move these, I'm going to do my quarter round. I'm going to get my circle. I'm going to draw out a perfect circle. And I'm going to, now, as I said a minute ago, how many ways can you do things in Lightburn? A bunch of ways. Here, I'm going to get, I want a quarter round. And the way I'm going to do this is switch. Draw out a square. Take and grab my circle right in the middle, and I'm going to drop it there. And first, I'm going to get an actually, in fact, I'll show you 2 ways to do this. Duplicate that, Control D, duplicate it, bring that over here. And right now, if you go into node editing, you don't see any nodes. But if you convert the circle, right click, convert it to a path, go to node editing, and I'm going to select this bottom node and delete it by hitting the letter D for delete, and then hover over that line and hit the letter L for line. And there's a semicircle. Then I'm going to come over here to this one and hit the letter D to delete. Well, actually, I don't want to just completely delete that one. Before I do that, I'm going to come back over here and grab one of the tool paths, and I'm going to come down here and snap it right there in the middle. Go to my node editing again, and actually not even delete it. I'll take this, hover over that line and hit the letter L for line, made that a line. And now just drag that node, or I'm not going to drag it because if I drag it, well, it can go up or down and that won't be right. And here you see the node is still selected. It's red. And if I hit the undo button, well, hey, now it works. Used to, if it was selected, it wouldn't work. Maybe they fixed that. So instead of dragging that, I'm going to hover over here and I'm going to hit the letter I for insert. That's where I want that to be. Now, undo, select that, and letter D to delete it. So there is a quarter round. That's one way to do it. Or you could A, subtract B, use your Boolean shape. Come on. Booleans to get that, and then draw out another one. I didn't want to draw that one out. I keep forgetting to get my selector tool. Selector. Snap it right in the middle there. And then A, subtract B. And there's a quarter round. So if you're not real good with node editing, you can get there by just using cut shapes to do those things. There's 100 different ways. There's always more than one way to do something. And if anybody tries to tell you that this is the one way and the best way, ignore them, because there is no one best way. A right brain person doesn't think like a left brain person, an analytical person versus an artistic person. You may not comprehend that easily what they're talking about, but there's another way to get there that your brain goes, that works. I understand that. Well, embrace that. Do that. But never let anybody tell you there's one way to do things. Look for any questions and or comments. I don't know what where's my marking mark? There. All right, now I'm caught up. Let's see. Question mark. Could we also do this and put mirrors in it? Yes, you could do mirrors. And also what I was going to talk about in y'all getting ahead of me. You could do mirrors. But the mirrors, you're not going to, you wouldn't even have to worry about lighting it, because unless it was a two-way mirror, well, even if it was a two-way mirror, you wouldn't see any light coming through. You shouldn't. But a lot of you are familiar with the lighting gels. Now, from my thespian days when I helped with all the lighting gels are really great for adding colored light if you want it to be a fixed piece, a fixed color. You can get lighting gels on Amazon, pretty reasonable, and they cut with scissors, and you can cut out different shapes that you need them to be. You might could even cut it with your laser, but you would want to make sure that it is something that's not going to create any gassing off that's going to be harmful to you and or your laser before you do that. Because some of that stuff can kill you. I would cut it with scissors to be safe, because if you don't know, don't take a chance. But you could put a lighting gel in there and then light it, and then it'd just be a red light or blue light or green light, and you wouldn't have to worry about LEDs or anything else. You could even get the lamp kits, cut a hole in the bottom where the bulb just pops up into the bottom, and you can pop it out to change your bulb and pop it back in. So there's always more than one way to do this. And here we're going to look at really just putting this base design together. And then I'm going to show you some tips and tricks other than the holes. I'm going to show you that, but I'm also going to show you some other ideas if you wanted to do, some scenes or something with the lighting gels. Exclamation points. Jeff says, and you couldn't radius the corners of the long slots because that would keep you from resizing the material later. Right. Yeah. We're not going to radius the long and we're going to look at all that too. Yep. Not doing any radiuses there. Let's see here. Thank you, V. Love you. Appreciate it. Mean it. Love you. Mean it. Okay. Mark this. So I showed you two different ways how I create the quarter round. So back over there, and here I'm going to need to place these quarter rounds to where the base and top are going to line up. So I'm going to drag a toolpath from up here, and to get these toolpaths, see my blue cursor, blue arrow. If I just come right up into my numbers, and then when the numbers turn into a line, or the arrow turns into a line, I can drag down a toolpath, or there we go. And I'm going to put it right here in that corner, because that is where my base is going to, and the lid are going to snap down to. So I'm going to take this piece right here and rotate it. And I grab that corner right there once I get my crosshairs and drag it right into there. Now I've got that positioned right. I'll grab this one, bring it over here and rotate it, and grab my crosshairs. That's not rotated correctly. Get it there. There we go. Grab those crosshairs there. Done. Now I got to do the same thing at the bottom. So I'm going to hold my shift key, grab that, say Control D, duplicate it, bring them down. And I ain't going to worry about positioning them right now, but these two, group those together and weld it. A and B welded together. And so that puts those tabs on there. And these, grab those, and we need to mirror them. And I can grab, and you can grab those toolpaths from anywhere. I'm come up here and just grab another one and bring it down to there. And bring those. Come on, get it snap right into the. Oh, messed it all up. Get in there, and get my crosshairs there, and snap. And that one's not right. Snap. Now grab those, group them. Grab those and weld it. All right. So those are in position. And now if I wanted to come back over here and move some of those nodes inward, I knew these I moved out. So let's grab this one and this one and just bring it in. Hold my shift button and bring it in. Well, no, that's not going to work because I've already done some other stuff to it. So if you're going to do that, look for that weak point first, move it away from your corner so it's not any weaker than you want it to be, or that You can prevent it from being any weaker than it could be. Make it as strong as possible. There we go. That's the words I was looking for. Make it as strong as possible. Come down there and find that middle point. Move that node out instead of bringing it in. Then once you move the ones out, bring the other ones in. Then go add your quarter rounds in, if you're going to do that. So go back. There we go. And then go back to here. So that will give you your wigglies, the wiggles, and give you your quarter rounds. And then once you've got that done to both sides, you can just duplicate it and then duplicate your duplications and rotate them when you got 4 sides. Now, let's see here. I got to acknowledge what's going on here. Switch. Go back up here. Find. Looking at it wouldn't take too much to change it into a pencil. Yeah. Yep. Leave the top off. Yep. And that's the thing. That's why I say this design, this concept. I'm doing it. This one was an LED light, but this box, the way that it assembles and goes together is so much easier than a whole bunch of slots and tabs that you're having to put, 12 slots and tabs together and line up all your fingers and worry about your offsets and all that, or your kerf and everything else, because it's one design. You're not having to create male and female slots and fingers and slots and tabs. You've got one design. You're creating one panel, and then duplicate it once, and then duplicate or 4 times, and flip 2 of them. That's why I said the possibilities of this style of box is pretty endless. So yeah, absolutely a pencil holder, and this would be a little bit tall for a pencil holder as it stands, because with a brand new pencil would work, but as they get sharpened, they'd be kind of small. But you could do 1/2 this size. It's just an easy way to put a box together. But absolutely, you are 100% right. And thank you, Tom. Thank you. And another thank you to Stephen in Kentucky. Let's see here. And Karen says that she ordered her trackball. You will not be disappointed when you get that. Once you get that, you're going to be going, how did I do this for so long without it? All right. So marking my spot. And now I'll go back over here to Lightburn. All right. So we're going to pretend that I've got all of this done to both sides, and it's all uniform and it's ready to go. And I'm going to undo that. There we go. And I'm going to get rid of all of these toolpaths. So we're assuming this is identical and they're all mirrored and done. Now, what you have to look at is if you're going to do the marbles, what kind of area do you have to play with? So I'm going to use my toolpaths again, and I'm going to come over here and snap it to that corner. Drag one out from this side and that go there. And then I need to drag down, and that's going to go to that corner right there, and drag another one down, and oops, didn't get one. Drag one down here, and it's going to go to there. So that area in between those toolpaths are where you could place your marbles and or your design, whatever you want to be. And what I would do, if you're going to create a base template, a base box, and this is what I would strongly recommend doing. Create a base template like I did for the lantern. I've got a very base template for the lantern that has no artwork in it at all. It's just all the math's been done for you for all the slots and tabs. Well, do you a base template for this box with no artwork in the middle, no holes for marbles, no cutouts or stars or anything else, no matter what you want to put in there. Don't put anything. Just do a base template. And when you do, when you're creating this piece right here, do what I've just done with your toolpaths, then take it one step further. Those toolpaths show you where your area needs to be for your holes, the artwork, whatever it's going to be. Come up here to your rectangle tool or your square tool, draw you out a square from that corner to that corner, and put it on a blue toolpath. And you can get rid of all of these guys and save that blue toolpath with your template, so that whenever you bring your template up to make any custom designs you want to make, you already have it already figured out and where to go. And whenever you duplicate this 4 times, you're already going to have it all set up and already laid out. So that's something that you're going to have in your template. Now you've got your design, your basic shape set up. You've got your slots right. You've got your quarter rounds here for where those and these really just serve as, they are a little bit of additional support on your end piece or your pieces for your bases. It does add some strength to it, but it also helps. So whenever you're sliding this down, they have a place to rest, and it could be even a glue point on your bottom base if you're going to glue the bases together. But now you need to figure out the spacing for these pieces. Where do they go? How am I going to get that lined up in there? Well, you need a slot that's going to be 5 millimeters, because I'm working with 5 millimeter wood. Whatever material you're working with, that would be your height. And I'm working with 5 millimeters, so we do that. Well, how big does this slot need to be? Well, if I would have actually just grabbed that, delete it. If I actually would have just started drawing my rectangle over here, come right there and get my double crosshairs, and then just draw out until I got down to those crosshairs, that would give me my width. Then all I have to do is unlock it and just change my height to 5 millimeters. There's one square. And I know it's 5 millimeters apart between the two. So if I say Control D, duplicate those, and move it all the way over here, select the two, Alt Shift H. Alt Shift H is arranging them together horizontally. And then in my movement tabs, just change that one to 5 millimeters real fast. And then just select one of them, move it over 5 millimeters. Now those are spaced properly apart. But now where do they need to go on my piece over here? So I'm going to come over here and actually I'll say these are going to go like that. Put that in. Oh, I just undo. What'd I do? Put that back in metric. There we go, 5 millimeters. All right, so from here to here is the distance from that corner to that piece. And the overall from there to there. And here, when I started this, I just drew out a random rectangle. I didn't put in exact measurements. And here's where it's biting me in the butt by not doing that. So I've got some random 119.291 millimeters instead of 120, or I should have made it a fixed even number to begin with. I didn't. Squeeze me. So this is the total width of that square, right? So it's 119.291 millimeters. And if I look at that, 119.292, it's about the same. So, okay. So if I take these two pieces that I've just created and I'm just going to grab this base, I'm going to bring it over here, select these two. Are they grouped? No, I'm going to group them together so that my spacing doesn't move there. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to tell it to go to center right now. And I need to make this, and actually take that back again, because this piece, that square, that rectangle, that square I had there was based on my initial design of 4.5 millimeters. So I can't use that. because I didn't put in that initial measurement to begin with. But I'm going to take that, delete it, 119.292, draw out a new square, 119.292. And I didn't have the aspect ratio locked. All right, there's a perfect square. Center that up. And I don't, that's how big the light is. If I was to measure, I just poked out a marble. If I measured that square in there, that's where that measurement would be. And I just poked out another marble. All right. And I want it to be, the first one, I want it to be offset a 1/4 inch, and we're going to do corners right now. We're not doing radiuses. So, okay. So this can stay on a tool path. That would go on a cut path, because that's going to be the actual cut size. And using the suggestion earlier, come over here to my shape properties. Well, shape properties. Well, and here you go. I did an all, and I talked about this, I think, in one of the last videos. When you do an offset, it's not a shape, it's a path. And because this is a path, when I go to shape properties, I don't have the option of controlling the radiuses. See, there I've got it selected, and I'm in shape properties. There is nowhere to put in my radius. So I'll go back over here. I know I want it to be a 1/4 inch. So I'll just put in a 1/4 inch and do my 4 corners real quick. I say I will. Select radius. Oh, what you doing there? It's screwed up. So when in doubt, start over. Delete that. And in fact, instead of doing an offset, I will do a square. And just tell it 119, aspect ratio lock, 119.292. And then I can do my radiuses of 0.25. And why ain't it working? What's going on? The heat is killing me. The heat is killing me. Yeah, I am in millimeters. And oh, thank you. Told you the heat's getting to me. I'm in millimeters, and I said 0.25, and so it did a 1/4 of a millimeter instead of a 1/4 of an inch. Thank you, Mark. And Mark, if you just joined this, I don't know if you haven't watched it all, you won't go back and watch the replay. I gave you a big thumbs up and a shout out and a kudos, because I pointed out your comment in YouTube, and you did teach me something. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for pointing out my screw up again. My brain is melting. No air conditioning tonight. All right, so undo. Goes and go back to that. All right. So I was telling it to do, I'm in millimeters, and I was telling it to do 1/4, and it was doing 1/4 millimeter instead of 1/4 inch. But before I do that, I need to add, let's go back to metric. Or no, that's right. Let's see. Nope. 119.292 millimeters. And then I'm going to add a 1/4 of an inch. Man, my fat finger is just going nuts tonight. Undo. There we go. So that should be the same as that. If I bullseye them, those are right. And now I want to add a 1/4 of an inch. No, I want to add a 1/2 inch. Add 0.5. And that gives me a 1/4 inch out. And now go back to cuts and layers, turn off my toolpath. Do a 1/4 inch radius on that. Inches, yep, and 1/4 inch. Why ain't you working? 0.25. There we go. And get this back to where it should be, minus 0.5. There we go. And put it in the center. Okay. Sorry about that, ladies and germs. I was all over the place with that one. Tommy, what's wrong with my AC? The squirrel cage on the outside unit's still working, but my squirrel cage on my air handler quit working today. I think I got a capacitor that went out. And fortunately, I've got family that does HVAC. They're coming tomorrow. Hopefully I can put a capacitor in and get the fan working. I'll be good. I hope, but we'll see. All right. So there, the blue toolpath is the square shape of the pieces once they go interlock together. I did a 1/4 inch offset with a 1/4 inch radius. Now I can take this piece and bring it up here and align it to the top. And that's where that would go. And now select that, hold my shift button, select that toolpath, go to my circular array and tell it I want 4 copies and say okay. And that creates those 4. I'm going to take this toolpath, a square, and delete it just so you can see that. So now that gives you those 8 individual rectangles instead. And then I'm not going to weld those together. I could take that and weld them all together and you have 4 slots. And no, let's see. Even that's wrong. You guys know I don't normally fumble and bumble like this, but I'm telling you, I don't know what the temperature is in here, but it's miserable and it is affecting my brain tonight. That and the fact that I've just worked too hard today. The problem now is I did not allow for the overlap in the corner. Like this right here. So what I just showed you is wrong. This, undo. This would be one of them times where you might be better off just to go over and grab the file on Hobo with Wood, because this video is choppy. Undo. There we go. So these are the actual widths of the total piece, but I need to have them intersect each other. Like, in fact, I'll grab these, bring these over here, like so. So if those are there, I want to bring it down. Where is my movement tools? Move there. I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to go back to metric. And set my movement to 5 millimeters. Bring that down, arrow 1 time. And now if I hold that and do the radius, there we go. That gives me my corner overlap. My most sincere apologies for my performance tonight, but my brain is cooked. It really is. I only got one video out this week because I've just got so much going on. So my sincere apologies. But by moving those down, then doing your circular array, it gives you that corner overlap and allows those pieces to slide into each other and lock into your tops and bottoms. And put those all on a cut path. Now, Bob, if you're still with us, the reason you don't weld these together is because if you're making you a template for this, and that's what I recommend doing, because as was mentioned earlier, you could use this style of box for not just a night light. You can just leave the top off and leave the grooves out at the top and have a nice finished edge on it and make a regular box. But what I would suggest doing if you were going to do it for a pencil holder or something else, I would probably leave these middle slots out right here. Leave those out, but still do your corner radiuses so that you can put a ring around the top to add some reinforcement to it. Because right now, if I grab these and start moving them in, and I got so much light in here, you can't see it, but those, see how flexible that is? And that's why the marbles popped out a minute ago when I was moving around it. I flexed it too much and popped the marble out. So I would create a ring that could go in there and give it some rigidity, stiffen it up. But if you're going to make a template, you want it so that you can use it with all types of materials, different varying sizes and so forth. And if you weld these together, like right now, if I select all of this, nothing's grouped, I can go in here to my tools and resize slots and selection and tell it to look for slot width that's equal to 5 millimeters and change it to 3 millimeters. And I do have them grouped. I got to ungroup them. Dummy. Told you my brain is cooked. Tools, resize, 5 millimeters, slot width. There, you can change your slot width and make it from 5 millimeter to 3 millimeter wood. But if I was to weld these together, that would work with my 5 millimeter material. But now when I select this and go to my resize slots and selection and tell it 5 millimeter slot width, it doesn't recognize these as slots anymore because of the node placements. When you weld it together, you get too many nodes and it will no longer work with resize slots and selection. So Bob, that's why you leave those separate. All right. Then once you've got those, you've got your placement right on them all, you can go ahead and group those together. Grab that outer piece there. Now, depending on, like I showed you in the very beginning of this, if you want to make it round like I did, you can just use your offset tool, which is a lot faster. And you wanted a 1/4 inch space around it, and you would actually do an offset of 1/2 an inch. Am I in inches? No, I'm in millimeters. Let's put that back in millimeter, go back to inches, and offset 1/4 inch. That gives you one. So then what you would want to do is you just group those, say Control D, duplicate those, hold your shift button and select that offset there and drag it out. And now you've got your second layer with the slots already in the perfect placement. You've got your first layer. There's your toolpath. Grab those, make sure they're all what grouped together they are, and there, and group that. So there's layer one. And there, say offset again. And there would be, without the slots, your third layer. So 1, 2, 3. We'll give you your 3 layers for your base and or your top. Then if you're going to come in here and you want to do, well, before I jump there, I'm going to come over here and look and see how many of you are fussing at me, cussing at me, throwing rocks at me because of them just been all over the place. Let's see here. There's my comments. Oh, well, even though I'm really blowing it tonight, we still got some people learning some stuff. So, yay. Yay. Glad to see that. Yes, Mark, and I do appreciate you pointing that out. The brain was just, and Mark wasn't the only one to see it. Tennessee noticed it too. Yep. A couple of you. See, y'all paying attention. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Good. All right. Exclamations. These are the same mistakes I would make. I try to learn from them all. Don't mind the mistakes. Well, I'm full of mistakes tonight, Craig. Let's see here. Yeah, and Bob says, that makes sense. Yep. So leaving those separate. Kevin, you're funny. Kevin's, what's up? Had company just now able to join. Can we start over? Because Kevin, I don't have air tonight, and it's miserable where I'm at. I'm dripping sweat underneath my hobo shirt. My brain is cooked because I've overexerted myself today, and we're going to fumble through this, and we're not starting over. But I do appreciate you being here, and you can always catch the replay. And Kent, thank you so very much. I greatly appreciate you. I appreciate everybody's support, especially right now. Tom's asking, shouldn't the initial rectangle be 5 by 10 since my initial, because when I started this a minute ago, if you were here, I didn't draw out any specific dimensions on height and width on my initial piece, and that's where I really screwed up. I changed the height, but I didn't change the width. And because of that, it kind of screwed up a little bit my maths and figuring out what size goes where. But I got there with the placement of that. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Done and done and done. Now let's look at how, because I showed you how to create, where to put your toolpath for where your artwork would go. I want to show you a couple of samples of ideas for doing the artwork. And that's why I say I would create a template, a base template, save it. And then if you create a marble lamp like this, save it as the marble lamp template. And then if you want to do something different, if you got to, if you wanted to do, and we'll do some stars here in a minute. So that if you turn on the night light, it'll just shine stars out. And maybe you would use I don't know, a gold lighting gel, so you have gold stars or something like that. But and I'm going to show you the random placement tool, and as far as orientation tool, and the array tools, and show you a couple options on this, and then we're going to wrap this up. So back over here. So I created this earlier. We've got that toolpath. So that is the area in which we have to work to put whatever artwork we're going to do here. Now, I would recommend, for safety strength, coming in here at least 5 millimeters inside that cut. So right now I've got my anchor point at the top center. Put it back to the middle. Unlock your aspect ratio. I'm going to go to millimeters. And right now the width is showing 89.294. I'm just going to right click at the end of that and say subtract 10 millimeters. And that moved that in 5 millimeters on either side of that cut. And in fact, I'll even do the same thing for the height. I'm going to say subtract 10. That way, when my base snaps and my base and lid snaps on, everything will be 5 millimeters from the edge there and 5 millimeters from the edge there. So that would be my actual work area for my artwork. Now, I think earlier, I think it showed that the well, we'll just go over here and look. Was it that one? I don't know. Can't remember. Brain. Nope, wasn't that one. Well, go back. I think they were about 16 millimeters in diameter. And if you're going to use marbles, the max diameter was 16 millimeters. If you put 16 millimeters holes in there, then your marble would drop through. So you wouldn't want to do that. You want it to go through enough, though, that you have some area to glue to. So you might do 13 millimeter holes. And I didn't have the aspect ratio locked. There we go. And put it there and line it there. Then use your array tool. Now, I learned some stuff. Now, some of you have checked in kind of late, which is great. Some of them have already left out. And those who are here and left out because I'm so scatterbrained tonight, they're going to miss this. I learned some new techniques with the grid array this week that I've been using this thing for 2 years. And I was like, I didn't know how to do that. It's kind of cool. So right now, I've got a 13 millimeter circle in there, and it shows you here total width is 13 millimeters. I got one column. I'm going to change my X spacing right now to 13 millimeters the same. Now you've got two different options down here. You can do your grid array with a distance from center to center or padding between edges. Two different options. And then reverse direction, shift by half. I'm going to first create a second column. And here, since I've got distance from center to center at 13 millimeter spacing, they're butted up against each other because it's going from the center of this circle to the center of this circle, 13 millimeters, which butts them up. If I change that to padding between edges, and with this 13 millimeter X spacing, rather, it would put them apart from each other. Center to center, butts them up. Padding between edges, 13 spaces them apart. Well, I don't know what my spacing can be or should be. I do know what my art area is, though. I know how big that rectangle is for the artwork. And this is what I learned with the grid array this week. If I cancel this for right now, I look at this toolpath, and it's 130 millimeters high and 79 and a quarter millimeters wide. So if I select that, in fact, you know what? Because my brain is cooked, I'm going to put that in here so I can remember it. 130 and 79.294. Otherwise, I wouldn't remember that to save my life. But those are the dimensions of that toolpath. If I select that circle, go to the grid array, and I'm going to put my X spacing at 0, put my Y spacing at 0 for right now. I just can't. I just fat fingered that, so I'm going to start over. 0 everything out as all my spacing goes. So I've got 13 millimeter total width and one column, one row. If I come down, let's see, and change this to total width is 79.294, 79 point. Oh, come on. Fat finger, fat finger, fat finger. Grid array. All right. I'm going to create, I'm on X spacing. We'll go ahead and say, we're going to give it a padding between these, and the spacing's not going to work out. They're not going to fit. We're getting there, folks. It's not going to fit when I do this, but watch what I do to make it work. I'm going to put in here first 13 millimeter X spacing, create my columns, Actually, you know what? I need to do more than that. So we'll do 5. So there's 5. In fact, if I know I want it to be 5 and 4, come on. I give it 5 rows and start increasing my spacing. It's like, okay, well, that's a little bit fat. And come down here and give it 2. And we need to give that the same spacing, shift by half. And now rows, I'll keep coming down. There we go. It's like, okay, so that fills the entire art area. But it's overfilled. It's too long and it's too wide. Well, now that I've got this in there, if I come back to my grid array and I use my measurements, 79.294, come up here to total width, 79.294, and the height is 130. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know why it's not working for me. Oh, why did that not go there? 130. I'm confused now, boys and girls, why that is not working for me. I owe you guys a terrible about. I really did just overdo it with everything I've got going on. I don't know if y'all can hear that or not. But the total width changed. I don't know why it's not letting me put in those. Total width is 79. Oh, 79.294 and 130. Well, I got it to work for me this week, and I was like, oh, that's cool. But I was able to put in the physical dimensions of the restrictions of the artwork area and got the grid array with the right spacings. And Tennessee saying my X spacing's wrong. And that's what I'm thinking is I've got, I did that. When you put the dimensions in, it's going to create the X, Y spacings, supposed to calculate it and put it in there for you. Don't know. Short circuiting tonight. All right. 4, 5 rows. And then if it's not where you want it to be there, I'm going to increase my Y spacing to fill that area to get it where it's kind of close. Those are too far out of the way. Say okay. And then I can just grab the ones I don't want to be in there. Delete those. And then grab all of these, group those together, and center them in that toolpath area. And that would make them work. But you can, and I don't know why I'm having a hard time, why I'm short circuiting on that, but you can actually enter those dimensions in there and it will fill those spaces for you and have them distributed evenly. But then there you got your spaces for your marbles. That would be one option. But this is what would be kind of cool. If you're not going to do, if you like the idea of doing this simple box, but you don't, gluing each of those marbles in it's time consuming. And if you're going to do the marble box, glue all your marbles into place before you assemble your box. Glue all the marbles into the panels and then assemble the box. Otherwise, you'll play heck getting those things in there. Here's another option you can do with the artwork. If you're not going to do marbles, you want to do something cleaner and simpler. If you were going to do a simple star, and I should save my star, and I don't know why. But if you haven't ever created a star, use your polygon tool, hold your shift key to draw out a perfect polygon, go into your cut or your shapes properties and change it to a 5-sided shape. Then come up here, grab your pencil tool, and connect the 4 corner or the 5 corners of the pentagon. There, 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 and there. Then delete your original polygon. Mirror that so the star is not upside down, or flip it. There we go. And then do a 0 offset of your star and delete the original. And there you get a perfect star. Now I'm going to draw that down a little bit. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put it right about there. And now I'm going to use my array tool. And that's, we'll do center to center and columns. We'll bring this down about like that, 15. There we go. And rows, columns, keep increasing the columns. Decrease this. And more rows. All right, now there you've got, stars, kind of like the stars from the flag. Well, that looks all right, but if I was doing a night light, I would not do it like this. I would do, while you've got your grid array open, come over here and turn on your random orientation. Right there, random orientation. And watch what happens to your stars. Random orientation on. It just flips the stars in random positions as far as rotating them. It did not change the X and Y spacing on them. It just shifted them around. And if you're like, well, okay, I like that, but I don't really like that particular one right here where I've got 64, that's a key. You keep changing that key number, it'll keep changing the rotation of the stars. And each time it's a different, every one of them is different. And you could have a different key for each side if you wanted to, but nobody would notice if they're all the exact same. And say, okay. And I should have actually grouped all those when I had it together, or because you can tell it to group your selection, group that, hold your shift, select your toolpath, and center it up. And now you've got a bunch of random stars, and that would work. And then you could put a lighting gel behind those to create colored stars and use a regular incandescent light or something in there, or even a clear LED or white LED. Andy, I don't know. My brain is just cooked. My brain's cooked. I wish there was another excuse, but I'm fried. And it's not getting any better. The heat's not getting any better. My projects aren't getting any better. For those, I'm remodeling the house, having to put a shower in. The house doesn't have a shower. It used to be a church. Church took the showers out. Now I got to put a shower in the house. I'm remodeling. I'm doing all of it myself. And I can only work in this heat about 30 to 40 minutes at a time before I have to sit and quit. And I just overdid it today. Yeah, I'm several of you guys probably seen what I was screwing up. The marble look done in a and like mine's. Here he's saying doing a letter for making it a personalized. I was going to do this, and I couldn't find my fonts. But to address that, and only because she is a she, Bob, and we, don't want to upset women. It's GG, as in 2 letters, GG. It's her initials. Her name is Good Girl, and I'm lazy, and instead of saying Good Girl, it's GG, her initials. And don't call a woman by her wrong name. But Gigi loves the heat. She's a black dog, and it's the craziest thing in the world. It's 100 degrees outside, and she will go and lay on the blacktop and just sun and soak it up. Asphalt burning up, and she just lay in the sun on the asphalt. She loves it. Touch her, it'll set your hand on fire. She loves the heat. It's the craziest thing. German Shepherd, Siberian Husky, and she loves to lay in the sunshine and lay on the hot asphalt. So it's not bothering her. All right. So this is what I was thinking about. He was talking about putting the marbles in the shape of a letter. I did not practice this. You know what happens when you don't practice? There are single line fonts, and I've got some, but they're not loaded, and I can't get them loaded right now, and I don't know what's going on. But if I had a single line font, let's see here if I can do this. This is going to be an awkward S because I'm just drawing this out freehand. But if you actually had a single, and I forget what they call those fonts, but I've got some that are not loaded. But if you got a single line font, it was an S. Then we've got a bunch of the marbles. Grab all of those, group them. No. All right. What I was hoping you could do, and this isn't working right here. And like I said, I thought about it, but I didn't try it. You can assign text to a path. And I was hoping I could assign these marbles to the path. And that would be really, really, really cool. Yeah, SH crap. What Jeff said. I've got some of those fonts. They're not loading in. Something happened to my folders, and you have to enable SHX single line fonts in your Lightburn. And to do that, if you go into your gears and settings and you go to file settings, you have to come up here and say set SHX font path. And I've got my font path set up. This is where they're supposed to be, but they're not loaded. So something got messed up. But if you have any SHX fonts, which are these single line fonts, you have to tell Lightburn where those fonts are at in order to have them load into Lightburn. And I was hoping that I could take these and then select that, right click, and then assign it to path. Because if I was to do text, Hobo with wood, select that, apply path to text. I could put Hobo with wood on that path and have it wrap around the S. I was hoping I could do that with the marbles, but it doesn't. And that might be something I would suggest next time I talk to them. No, the fonts aren't zipped. I had them. I did use them, but they're not. Whenever something happened in one of my last updates or something, it got mixed up. And I don't know. Let's try. I don't think it's because whenever you do that, edit text shape, or undo. There we go. Here, that's text. Hold shift, select that, right click, apply path to text. So if I ungroup all those and then grab that and right click, it still won't let you apply it to the path. because it's not text. And somebody mentioned, yeah, Chris said use the letter O for circles. If you had a perfect font that was a perfectly round O, you could do that. But since your marbles are nearly perfect circles, your cutout needs to be close to that as well. So I thought about doing that same thing too, making them in the shape of a letter. And that's why I was looking for my SHX fonts, and then I couldn't find them. Then I got sidetracked and I didn't practice it, didn't try it, but it's only allowing you to apply text to a path. All right. Yeah, this is going long. My brain's fried and it's 2 hours. Just select one marble, then S, and select arrange copy. Oh, copy along path. So you say select one marble, then the S, select arrange, and copy along path. Arrange. Copy along path. Okay. Let's look at what Tennessee's saying. I knew there was a way to do this, and I think it don't look right here, but let's look at this and look at what he's talking about. I say he. I don't know if Tennessee Wood signs a he or she, but copy along path. I knew that. Rain's just not here today. So if you select, go back over here, you select one circle, hold your shift button, select that rough S, arrange, copy along path will open up another menu like your grid arrays. Number of copies, space between copies. We don't need to worry about auto increment variable text because we're not doing any variable text. We don't need to rotate them because they're perfect circles. Cancel that. Let's grab that, put it up here, put it on the corner of that, hold shift, grab that, arrange, copy along path. There we go. And now it's putting them on how many copies. There you go. Yeah, I got it, Tennessee. I figured I'd put the marble on the S first. So yes, you could do your marbles in the shape of letters. You would need that SHX fonts, the single line fonts, in order to be able to do that and have it look really nice. And then position your first marble at the starting point of that. Copy a long path. How many how many copies you want. Or you can delete what you want your spacing to be. I want it to be, yeah. So here I'm not telling it how many copies. I just tell it how much space I want between each of the marbles, and it will. But it doesn't end there. That would look good like that, and say okay, and then there you'd have a perfect placement of your marbles. Perfect placement of the marbles right now would be good. Oh, all right. So we got there together. Thank you for working with me. Thank you for your help on that, Tennessee. I knew there was a way to do it. I just couldn't put it all together tonight. But we got there. And I appreciate y'all. I really do. I'm probably, with everything I've got going on, I'm getting more progress made with the remodeling. And because of how much it's physically draining me, I don't know that I'm going to be able to continue to do 2 videos a week plus the live streams. I'm going to try and keep at least one new project every single week, because that's the commitment that I'm trying to do for my patrons. If you're a gold patron, you're getting a new project from me every single week. And then I will show these projects in the live stream as far as how I put the design together and how I get there. But I was trying to do 2 a week. Right now, I'm probably going to be down to 1 a week plus the live streams. If you're not a patron, consider doing that. Right now, it would be a huge blessing. I've got about 200 paid patrons, gold, silver, and bronze. I need about 400 patrons right now. I need to double that. So even if you've thought about it and you've been on the fence about it, if you would do it for the last 6 months of this year, it would be such a blessing to me right now. You would not even begin to fathom. Once you become a patron, you would have access to not only all of the files that I have for free, or all the files on hobowithwood.com would be free, but there are files in Patreon that are not even on Hobo with Wood. And you can go back and look at the entire year's worth of posting in Patreon and see different videos, different files, and different designs that no one else has seen. YouTube don't see that. And you would also get the full story on what's going on with my world and why I'm having to do what I'm doing. And so if you've been on the fence, get off the fence, go over to patreon.com/hobowithwood, and I'm going to put that banner up. Ticker, patreon.com/hobowithwood. Go over there, jump on there, and for the next, if you don't want to do it, you can actually sign up and do a 1-year commitment and do a gold patron at $240. But if you're like, I don't really, and here's the thing, a gold patron at $240 for an entire year, I've got nearly $600 worth of files on hobowithwood.com that you would have access to. I ask that you don't go sign up. Now, if you do a year commitment, I do not put a restriction on your downloads. If you do a 1-year commitment and pay for the entire year, I do not limit or throttle your downloads to $40 a month. But if you did that 1-year commitment, if you didn't want to do the 1-year commitment, do 6 months. Do the remaining year at $20 a month, and you do $120 between now and Christmas or end of the year. You're going to have access to nearly $600 worth of files. It's a steal. It really, really is. And right now, I said early on that I wasn't going to be doing the, hey, help, or, donate. But if you do go over to Patreon, you sign up, become a patron, you'll understand why I had to change my world, why my world changed. So thank you guys for being here tonight. Come back over here to comments. Let's see here. Yeah, Bob, I'm doing the best. I know my limits. I actually had 2 different. I had 2 seizures today, 2 partial seizures today from the heat. And when I have seizures, and I'm going to do this on purpose, and I'm going to come in here close for you. If you can see my eyes, whenever I have a seizure, my eyes will do this. I'll have one eye go crossed and the other one will look straight around. I can still see everything. And my equilibrium goes all out of whack, but my eyes will, I'm doing that right now on purpose, but they will do that involuntarily. When I have a seizure, my eyes will begin, one of them will cross. The other one still looks straight ahead, and it varies. Sometimes it's this one across, and sometimes it's this one that'll cross. But I had 2 seizures or partial seizures today, and I just had to sit down and take a break. But I got to get it done. All right. Tennessee, I appreciate your help tonight. I appreciate your comments. And what was it, Jack? Let me go back over here because I want to. Not Jack, Mark Patterson. Thank you for your comment in YouTube. In fact, I had to go test your comment because I didn't believe it. I had to go test Mark's comment because I almost replied to him, no, that won't work. And then I had to think, wait a minute. All kind of crazy thing happening in Lightburn. Let me go test that first before I tell him no, it don't work. It does work. So thank you, Mark, for your feedback. Thank you all for being here. Thank you guys that have donated. Thank you to all my patrons that are out there, gold, silver, and bronze. If you're not a patron, jump over there at patreon.com. Do the last 6 months of the year. I greatly appreciate it. Wow, Tom, man, you didn't need to do that. Thank you, guys. Come get out of here.